Hello and welcome to ThePrint. I am Muneef Khan and today we're at Delhi's Connaught Place market. Now it's a Thursday, it's slightly over 9:30 pm and this place is usually filled with a lot of people during the day. But during the night, you can see a lot of them rushing back before a deadline which ranges between 11 to 11:30 pm as the entire market shuts down. Now, we're trying to understand as to why Delhi, being the national capital, doesn't have a vibrant nightlife. And we're going to talk to people to understand their perspective as to why Delhi does not have a nightlife and whether they want one. On 6 June, the Delhi Chief Minister's office announced that another 155 establishments can now operate round the clock. This move came as part of a larger push towards creating a nighttime economy in the city and subsequently having a nightlife. We visited 3 major commercial hubs and spoke to people to understand their take on Delhi's nightlife.
It's like if you see things are like quite working when you have this nightlife culture in this Delhi city. Like I have been to Pune, Bombay, where there is a difference. Like people enjoy from 11 to till 4 a.m. morning. Since in Delhi there are some issues, but still we enjoy with our rides and all. But shops, if the shops remain open, if the government vehicles are there, if like the security is there, definitely people will enjoy the nightlife. We generally talk about Delhi's nightlife, which ends around 11 to 12 o'clock. But when it comes to comparison with other cities like Pune, Mumbai, there are issues with Delhi's nightlife, and I personally think that if opportunity is given, like the securities and the commute thing or the public transport, if it is available, people will definitely go on enjoy. And somewhat Delhi is missing out, like others like Gurgaon and Mumbai or Pune, like what other state or other city have, Delhi is missing with the nightlife. Apart from that 24/7 store, I can't see anything that is being, that's open for 24/7. And hospitals and medical facilities are there, but not in terms of market, not in terms of public communication and kind of.
I grew up in Gujarat. I came here in 2008. And since that, I haven't witnessed anything which can be called nightlife. In fact, most of the stories I hear from my friends are horror stories. Like, we went somewhere and then the police chased us away from there, and then we couldn't find an auto and we had to walk for kilometers. We weren't feeling safe and stuff like that. Of course, Gujarat is not known for its nightlife. Even if you are in places which are more metropolitan like Vadodara and Ahmedabad. But those Gujarat changes during Garba, right? At that time there is a nightlife, and there you can see that it's much safer, particularly for women, right?
So you don't feel that that's there in Delhi at any season in Delhi?
So my friends in Mumbai, the stories I hear, Delhi is the stark opposite of that. Yes, we could look for conditions, right? The metro closes at 12:30. In fact, after 10:30, 11, you have one metro every half hour. So you would want something like that. You would want other forms of local transport. You would want places to be better surveilled even at night time. I think a major problem is that this has always been the national capital, at least right through the 20th century. This has been the national capital. Because of that, this has this administrative culture where policemen are more like bouncers, and all of this is administered in such a way as to be to the convenience of people who live in Vindhyans, Delhi. So they don't want people out and about at the night. It's not enough for the government to make 350 joints operate through the night. They have to nurture this culture. If they think it is something worth having. Of course, on one hand, governments will say all the time, oh, we don't really care about these values, what we want is the economy to run, we want jobs, blah, blah, blah. But then when it comes to actually doing something about it, they go back into their parochial mentality because they want votes from all these conservative people as well. This is what happens, right? So finally, they do not want to be seen as nurturing this kind of a, night society.
So we're at Delhi's Khan Market right now, another very bustling spot which sees a heavy footfall in the daytime, but as you can see, it's slightly past 10:30 and most of the markets over here, most of the shops in the markets over here are shut, give or take a few eateries over here. And as you can also see that there is hardly any footfall over here, a few people, most of whom are returning home.
Delhi has a nightlife shop, but then I think it closes down too early. Usually restaurants are shut by 11:30, 12. last order, most of the restaurants take is at 11:30ish. So I think a little extension would be better. My issue is just safety. Like, I wouldn't go out only because of safety. There's no other reason I can see why I would not go out. I do understand on weekdays we have an early morning, but still sometimes we do take out time. We want to go out. We feel the need of, going out, having a drink or having a ice cream with a friend. But the problem is that there's no the safety is an issue. That's the only thing that I see as a problem. I think the overall perspective of people also should improve a little bit. It's not just the police and the government. How 1,000 people, for them to take care of such a big population, is difficult. So I guess from people's point of view also, if they are a little conscious and a little vigilant and they know their own boundaries, then I think it would be better. It's our responsibility also to maintain an environment for a healthy nightlife. It's not just the government thing. We should also be a little vigilant towards providing that environment that the restaurants can be open, the bars can be open. Or it would be better if the nightlife is there and there will be some life around. So, that cannot be an alternative to create a healthy and a safer environment. You cannot have a shop running in every corner or every gully. That is more about creating a safe environment. It should be seen as a priority rather than something from which it is coming.
So we are at the House Cars Village right now, another place in Delhi that sees a heavy footfall during the day. But as you can see right now, it's close to 12 a.m., which is midnight, and the place is largely shut. Most establishments are shut down. People are on their way out, while some have come in wandering to get a last drink.
So honestly, I have come with my cousin, and since I have a guy with me, I have come out at this time. Otherwise, I don't think I would have come out at this time.
So you're saying safety is a very big...
Safety is a big issue.
And is that the only aspect in nightlife that has to improve, or do you feel there are other collective
like
factors?
Transport and other things. Like, also again, transport is related to safety, because if you're traveling through cab or if you're traveling through auto, you listen to multiple stories that are happening recently, especially in Delhi. So it's always like, if a group of girls or if you're traveling alone, it's very... Like, even the family says that, don't travel alone at night. But the only reason I'm alone, like I'm having fun at this time, is because I have my cousin with me and I have a guy with me at this time.
And there's a lot of room for improvement, because somebody wants to party now post midnight, which is the party time actually. You have no option other than going to a 5-star hotels, and which are super expensive, which is not ideal for everybody. So yeah. So every year there are interesting stories that come out that Delhi would have a extension for parties to bars to operate for extended hours, but it has never been. The Delhi police upfront refused that we can't provide security for people to party at night, which is pretty embarrassing. Public transportation is a huge problem. All these Ubers, all the cab guys, they squeeze people out because surge pricing. Metros don't operate post a certain time, which is different in European countries. So yeah, the licensing is a huge issue.
Can you elaborate on licensing? Because somebody told me it takes 27 licenses to sell a sandwich in Delhi. So from your point of view...
Not 27 actually, about 20 odd licenses you need from different departments, which is a huge problem. But now they have a MHA in place. They're trying to streamline it, but it takes time. Everything takes time. Not yet, but we're like 5% there, 95% behind. Huge problem in terms of the excise timing. And people who want to party can always go to Gurgaon any point of time. On top of that, Delhi does not have a lot of brands available because of the excise scam that happened. Gurgaon, however, has everything available. So a lot of business is going. Once you retain customers, leave your place, then it's very difficult to bring them back.
According to trader associations in the city, the idea of having simultaneous economic activity during the night has remained an idea that was lesser explored in the past.
See, first thing is that the government did not allow to have a nightlife. And two, having allowed, we have to see how successful it is. In nightlife, there are two things. One is the trading, retailing. The other is the restaurant and bars. Well, it's a welcome idea, but we should not always ape the West. Civic sense and sense of responsibility towards the society for people to over here. There are very many licenses to be taken, whether it is from the Delhi Tourism, from the Delhi Police, from the local body, which is the NDMC over here. Then there are certain criteria. Fire license is also required. New Year's. Well, on New Year's in Connaught Place, they closed all the doors, all the roads. And a very important day for the restaurateurs and for us also, because that's the time when people are on holiday in a mood to buy, shop, eat, drink. That's the time roads are closed over here, and with the result, business suffer over here. So now you can imagine if you have a nightlife, and if there are very many people, if the police can't control it, so they stop the entry. So how will they manage it if they're going to do it on a 24/7 basis? In CP, I've seen you don't get walk-in customers for retail. I'm not talking of the restaurant. For retail, beyond 10 o'clock, 10:30, matlab 9:30, 10 is the outer limit. So people don't want to open beyond that. So yes, if they want, we can give it a try. But after some time, would know exactly how effective it is, whether people are coming or not, because it's electricity, it is labor, plus it is a situation over here, if they have a sale or not, because if the expense is going to run higher than the amount of sale, then people will not get into it. Ease of doing business is being said so. But the ground reality, on the ground, it's the reverse. People, senior people, ministers, let's say the Prime Minister, LG, all these people, the chairman and all, have very positive suggestions to give and positive thought to have ease of doing business. But when you get down to ground reality, there are difficulties. Like restaurant itself, if somebody has to open, it takes a lot of time.
However, it is to note that Delhi has not always been so bereft of a nightlife. Dilip Cherian, an image consultant and founder of the Delhi-based public relations company Perfect Relations, notes that during the late 1980s and early 1990s, there was a section of Delhi's population that included those who went to 24/7 five-star coffee shops, and another aspect of Delhi's nightlife, which was that of a cheap and cheerful nightlife, which often saw dabas operating notoriously through the night, especially in South Delhi's Mulchand area, given its popularity. Then, he notes, came the 1990s, when nightlife aficionados flocked to nightclubs, or discotheques as it was then called, including the iconic Gungru at ITC Moria, which shut down in the early 2000s. He quotes, "There was a huge appeal to these clubs, but there was also too often instances of fistfights and rowdy behavior. Eventually, the city administration tightened the security noose, slowly killing everything that made up Delhi's nightlife."
Previously nobody's thought of having a simultaneous economic development in comparison. I mean, in shape of exploring the nightlife in Delhi. A comprehensive policy is missing. Of course, there is an announcement which is a welcome step. And the traders are very happy that at least Delhi is also going the way Mumbai and other cities are going in comparison of nightlife. But certainly there is not a policy. When you have a nightlife, you have 2-3 most essential things. Number one, the law and order situation. Number two, the government transport. Number three, the availability of goods. So therefore, choosing certain categories that what could be allowed to operate in Delhi. So you cannot restrict the choice only for 5 or 10 things. You have to go a little big. Obtaining several licenses is always a deterrent for a vibrant trade. And what we have I already asked the central government that eradicate of all licenses and issue one license for everything. Likewise, the Lieutenant Governor, particularly for the nightlife, should issue only one license. And if one license is issued, it will be a big ease of doing business. And certainly the people will encourage to open more and more shops, and customers will also throng all these areas where the nightlife is situated.
Fostering a nighttime economy has come as a key provision in the Master Plan for Delhi 2041. The plan highlights that extending the duration to utilize workspaces, socio-cultural and commercial facilities will promote a vibrant nightlife and boost local economy. Another step in the direction is the identification of nighttime circuits, which they believe will attract tourists and locals. While the potential circuits are to be identified by local bodies and the tourism department, the plan promotes the development of commercial activity in these circuits, including the extension of timings for hotels, restaurants, socio-cultural activities, retail stores and sports facilities, among others, which are to be considered by the concerned agencies.
It is not that Delhi doesn't have a nightlife, but Delhi has got a very limited nightlife. Even say 30-40 years ago, what you had was typically you had roadside aloo paratha, anda paratha joints being there, but they were very limited and they were close to, say, some hubs where students used to reside or near hospitals. Now, with the emphasis on promoting nightlife in Delhi, I think the lead will have to be taken by the hospitality industry, but there is an acceptance or acknowledgement, you can say, that it cannot operate in isolation. There has to be a nightlife economy also. And there may be, because of certain factors, maybe places like Gurgaon where there are ITS presence is more, maybe those places are slightly ahead of Delhi in terms of a nightlife, or places like Mumbai, for instance, where it has always been known that if a city in India comes close to a city which never sleeps, maybe Bombay is that kind of a city. Delhi never was known for that. Delhi has always been a bit of it shuts down around, the markets shut down at 8. Most of the markets even now have got an official closing at 8. By 9, you have got maybe even subways shutting down, those where you cross the streets or the roads. No, the crucial component would be you have to create spaces which are thriving. It will definitely not be the whole city itself. Even the master plan, it talks about maybe identifying certain circuits. They may be tourist circuits. They may be circuits which have got a significant footfall even now in terms of hospitality being there. And then what you need, if you talk to the people on the streets, they will tell you that the infrastructure is not there. I think security is something which is a major concern, and lack of mobility. So you will find the master plan talks about, the master plan is basically a document which defines land uses and broader control norms. But it's also a statement of intent for what the city would be and overall. So the second part is, even if we are not looking at 24 hours life, even extending it by a few hours maybe adds a lot of value, adds a lot to the transactions. It enhances the utilization of the infrastructure to a significant extent. Say a mall, if a mall can remain open for 2 hours more, you'll probably have footfalls. Or not just a mall, any space where there is a significant footfall. Go to the Central Vista, the India Gate is a prime example. 12 o'clock, it's still very crowded. The crowd starts dissipating maybe after 12. Even at 1, you will find people are there. So, but the point is, how do the people come to India Gate? Only in their private cars. That adds to all the roads around India Gate Circle remaining clogged. A vibrant nightlife or a nighttime economy does add to employment generation significantly, mainly in the hospitality sector, but also in the complementary sectors. It may be maintenance services of the malls or the other establishments which will remain open, security services also. So there is a definite increase in employment. There is also a definite increase in the revenues. And overall, it may be very minuscule, not a very significant, it may not add to the GDP to that extent, but minuscule, definitely there's a contribution to that. And to that extent, it is stated in the master plan that will distinctly be trying to encourage nighttime economy in Delhi. And I think we have to talk in terms of nighttime economy and not only a nightlife.
Most people, including restaurateurs, told us that Delhi does have a nightlife, but that does end by 11:30 and 12 in the midnight and does not go beyond that. And further from here, there is more room to explore. Among the priorities that topped their list was law and order, which is public safety, and public transport, both of which they believe is largely unavailable after the midnight hours. While Delhi does not have an active nightlife according to their perspective, there is more room to explore, starting with fixing the aspect of law and order, while stating that public safety is most important. This is Muneef Khan, reporting for ThePrint.